television. Well, you put my lights out, but see, I'm back, and I'm standing. And you and I are going to face each other. What you got around your waist, I want real bad. And I think it's a disgrace for this country to have a Russian as a United States heavyweight champion. Now, it took 3 of you to get the job done on Ronnie Garvin. Obviously, you're scared of something. Well, I'm going to tell you, you're going to have to prove to me that you are a superior athlete like you say. The only thing superior about you is I find out that you go to sleep a little quicker than anybody else when I hit you with a right hand. Well, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to walk that aisle, step in that ring, and I'm coming after you to get what you got around your waist. And you're going to have to prove to me that you're a man.
Bring in the World Tag Team Champions, the Rock and Roll Express, defending the titles against Ivan Koloff and Kreischer Khrushchev.
Yeah, you're talking about the Russians. They want something that belongs to us. I'm talking about the NWA World Tag Team title. You see, Russians, we went round and round before, and it ain't going to be no different right here in the 80s. So right there in Cincinnati, guys, come on down. The people stick behind the Rock and Roll Express. We're going to put your shoulders down for the 1, 2, 3 count, Tony.
That's right, Tony. The Cincinnati Gardens, baby. We're going to be there. I'm talking about USA style against the Russians, in which before we defeated the Russians for these belts twice. We're right here in Cincinnati, brother. It's your time. You're up for the grabs for these belts. And we're going to be there at 110% because, baby, we're talking about rocking in the USA. Woo!
Nature Boy Ric Flair defends the NWA World Heavyweight title against...
Well, what do you think, Andrew? We were on the #1 broadcast out of Long Island in New York.
The Monty and the Pharaoh Show, baby. Brother, daddy, daddy, brother. You know it.
This is Gangrel, you're fanging and banging to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling podcast, Monty and the Pharaoh.
We're Money Inc., and you're watching Long Island's #1 wrestling broadcast with Monty and the Pharaoh.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh, only seen here out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, Long Island. Show number 2 on a Sunday. Matt, great job on show number 1 with Ronnie Garvin.
Thank you. It was a blast.
Did you learn anything, youngster, about wrestling with the older icon Ronnie Garvin?
Well, I gotta say, not really taking any lessons here.
Oh, I guess you're not just...
He's got buttons to push.
Sorry.
He's concentrating.
If anyone didn't know, to start a show, Mr. Jimmy Farrow. Jimmy, how'd you like the Ronnie Garvin interview, buddy?
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. What a pleasant surprise. He was a great interview and a good dude. That was fantastic.
So if it doesn't get any better, we've got the 9-time NWA Tag Team Champions in studio and pro wrestling icons. It just gets better and better. But before we get to them, so we got coronavirus.
Yeah. No, you had coronavirus.
I did.
And you got rid of it.
But we're talking about coronavirus in this country.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
People getting sprayed with acid in their face.
What?
Oh, yeah. You don't know about that?
Wait a minute. Is it the good acid that I used to take in the 80s?
No, not the acid you used to take. The shit that burns your skin and makes you into a monster.
Oh, who's doing that? What are they doing that for?
I guess to burn people's faces.
That's very productive.
Right?
That sounds awful. Go on.
Derek Chauvin gets convicted. I'm saying his name right. Gets convicted Tuesday on all counts on the death of George Floyd.
Yeah, we know about that. Go on. Yeah.
And the breaking news and today's morning news is the cops have recovered the missing stormtrooper statue.
Wait a minute. Stormtrooper?
Yeah, that's
like
right.
Star Wars?
That's right. Someone stole a stormtrooper statue.
But they got it back. They got it back? They recovered it?
They recovered it.
Thank
so
God.
things
May
are
the force
important.
be with you. Oh, thank God.
Just, if anyone
this is
thought,
news?
If anyone
this
thought
is how you start the show?
If anyone thought this country wasn't jacked up, it just keeps getting worse and worse by the day.
This is terrible.
So, all the fans out there, you've been waiting for it. The 2 greatest broadcasters are meeting the greatest tag team, which many feel, including ourselves, of all time, sitting on the couch. But before we get to them, I'd like to thank the band who sings the theme song for Monty and the Pharaoh. Our own Jimmy Farrow, along with his partner Bart Griggs, make up this band, Wisteria Hall.
It's rock and roll.
It is rock and roll.
There you go.
Is it rock and roll?
Well, I guess it's rock. I don't know how much
Maybe work
rolling
out a
we
deal
do.
where you ask them to play your song for their upcoming events when they go out to wrestle. See, I'm smart. I'm a businessman. I'm thinking about this all the time.
Yeah, I'll do the begging off screen. Oh, please.
Patrick Serial songs and their theme song, our theme song, Riding High, In My Dreams, This Life, Not Far Behind, Here Comes the Rain, Spotify, iTunes, and Reverb Nation. And also go to the Wisteria Hall YouTube page, hit your like and subscribe button.
Thank you, thank you.
If you don't know it, you're watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty Nefaro, seen only here on YouTube, Facebook Live, hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Twitch TV, the Monty Nefaro page, channel 115 every Tuesday from 7 to 7:30, and the compressed work for you?
Better than you calling it reduced.
Where you'll catch the Rock and Roll Express in this condensed video.
Thank you.
And for early risers, Saturday at 6 a.m. to 6:30 on channel 115 and channel 20 for rockers like yourself and the Rock and Roll Express on channel 20, 2 a.m. to 2:30. We'll be right back with the 9-time NWA Tag Team Champions.
The Rock and Roll Express. See you in a sec.
The Monty and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite 4-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah.
Jimmy, I just got the best hookup on tickets.
Fill me in.
I went to www.seatslinks.com and ordered the best tickets with the best prices.
Call 718-676-0504. SeatsLink, the complete ticket experience.
Tell them Charles sent you. You want to star in your own success? Call QuickCast. www.quickcast.com. 866-7-CAST-NOW. That's 866-7-CAST-NOW. QuickCast.
Star in your own success.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monty Nefaro, filmed here out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, Long Island. What an honor! The Rock and Roll Express are in the house, baby.
What's up, guys?
So glad that you guys can make it. What an honor.
Man, thank you all for having us here today. You know, I'm laid back on this couch here, and I had me a sip of that good fucking wine. I'm thinking about taking a nap. I don't know.
I told you to drink the wine after.
Very comfortable. Thank you.
It's great to have you. Kick it off, Mikey.
So, how does it feel coming back to New York? You were around the fans yesterday. You actually wrestled in a wrestling match. How are the fans' reception towards you guys? Is it still the same? How does it feel?
Well, but, man, you know what? As you can tell from this accent that I am from New York City, but
Brooklyn,
you know,
right?
down
Brooklyn.
down south, it's you know, a lot of things are open. But no, coming back up here, gosh, you know, this is a part, you know, New York and Jersey. It's a big part of our wrestling business, you know, and it's always a pleasure to come back. You know, not long ago I was here in town, and you know, like I said, things are different. And I'm going into a building, and I open a door for the lady behind me, and she stops and points that finger at me. She goes, "I'm not tipping you." And I went, "I'm sorry." She goes, "Oh, you're from down south. Thank you." That was it.
Yeah, she probably didn't know what to do. We don't do that in New York. We don't hold doors. We slam doors.
Yeah, I got you. Great. No, it's a pleasure. Thank y'all guys for having us here.
Thank you for being here.
See you, brother.
Well, I guess let's just start with the very beginning. How's it all start for you guys to getting into wrestling? How does it begin?
How does it begin? I started training when I was about 10. My brother was 6 years ahead of me, Rick Gibson, and I turned pro at 17.
10 years old.
We're both.
Started training.
We're both from wrestling families.
Right.
So he's talking about his brother Ricky.
Sure.
Ricky and Robert Gibson, professional wrestler. My dad was a professional wrestler, and I grew up in the business. It was our thing, you know. Me and my 4 brothers, we had to help our dad pull the ring, set it up. That was his job. And after all the years of being in, which my 4 brothers had their own destiny, but professional wrestling. I loved it, and at that time was when the business was really changing to a whole different scene.
Sure.
But that's how we got started, right? We're both from wrestling families. I knew Robert when he was with his brother. And then, and it's one thing about our business is being at the right place at the right time.
Of course.
And me and Robert were at the right place at the right time.
So you both never had any other aspirations? It was wrestling, right from almost day one.
Since
For
I
both
was a
of you.
kid, I knew I was going to be a heavyweight champion.
There you go. Interesting.
Oh, well,
followed my dreams.
That was our dream. Our
And you
dream
accomplished
was
it.
to be
Yeah.
what we are, and it came true.
Well, I remember back in the day they said, rock and roll, y'all guys would never be world champions because y'all too small. How long would we do it once? We did it 9 different times.
Who said something like that to you?
All the big guys.
All the big guys, huh?
Well, a lot
Did you
of
laugh
the
at them on the way out the door?
Oh, well, yeah.
You've been laughing for 38 years now.
But understand, our business changed.
Of course.
And now it's for the good because you have your big companies nowadays. But see, the one thing that was bad about our business is when it was territory wrestling.
Okay.
And the reason you wouldn't make it is because either your top babyface, if you understand what I'm talking about,
Sure.
or your top heel on the territory. And I promise you wasn't going to get over him. And that's what was bad about our business. But what was good, you could have a good run there. Now, see, my dad always told me, going on, he says, listen to me, tag team wrestling is where you need to go. He said, because you're not going to get over the top babyface in the territory. He owns it. He's not going to let you get over him. But tag team wrestling, that you get a hell of a push, especially if you're a babyface tag team. And it worked. And I listened to my dad, and I followed. In starting in this business, he explained stuff to me. Well, I'm going to tell you this, but I'd be better off talking to that wall because you're not going to understand a damn thing I'm telling you. But it will hit you one day, and which it did. But see, like I said earlier, Robert and I were at the right place at the right time, right when this business was changing.
Sure.
And it went from your big guys to the smaller guys. And to tell you an example of that, y'all might have to tell me to shut up over here, but I keep talking.
No, by all means.
Robert and I, Bill Watts owned Mid-South in Louisiana. And see, Bill Watts was a big guy. He's 6'8", 6'9". First met Bill Watts when I worked for Leroy McGurk, like 6 or 7 years before that, and he couldn't believe I was a professional wrestler. I was too small.
Okay.
But he didn't know me then.
Right.
But see, he's wanting to retire. Now listen to me, he still wanted to own the territory, but he didn't want a booker, which is a booker puts the matches together because the booker pushes himself. You see? He didn't want a booker that wrestled. So when Robert and I first go in to Louisiana, now Abdullah the Butcher was the top babyface. You know why he was the top babyface besides Junkyard Dog? It's because Bill Watts just got through beating him. They got a new heel coming in. So you got to turn Abdullah babyface so that new heel can beat Abdullah for Bill Watts. That's just how our business works.
Right.
But it changed.
Right.
They brought Robert and I in. They shot videos of us, the ones out of Memphis, and sent to her. And overnight, it's just overnight because it caught the attention of the wrestling world. We went to a territory where we had to go to the bigger arenas. I'm talking the first 2 weeks in there.
You guys got a crash course, huh?
And I'm just telling people the truth about our wrestling business. But it took everybody in the territory to do this. But we broke, as soon as we got there in the first week, we broke every Elvis Presley record of attendance.
There you go.
Until they made the bigger buildings. And in New Orleans, I tell you how big the crowds were. We had to go to the Superdome.
Right.
To wrestle.
Right. I remember those days. Sure. Sure.
And
What was
it's
it like?
just that.
What was it like working with the Poffos back in the day?
Randy,
yeah.
Go ahead.
They were good.
Randy Savage and I were the first ones to ever break a table. And
that was a big old thick table.
Randy.
Back then, yeah.
And I'm going to say this too: the Memphis territory. If you look in the later '80s and everybody that was in WWF that were big names, they all come through Memphis, Tennessee, and that's where we come through. Randy was he was phenomenal. Randy hit his psychology in the ring and everything he did. And Lanny, you know, they're brothers, but they have two total different personalities.
True.
You know, I love both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And being at the right place at the right time. I was telling you earlier, see, because we wasn't the top tag team in Memphis until it still didn't. We played second fiddle to the Fabulous Ones. But when I did the angle with Randy Savage, well, it wasn't a planned angle. He power drived me through the table and it broke, and I sewed it. Do you know the language of our wrestling about settling it?
Sure.
Okay, buddy, I sewed it. And Randy was telling me, get up. I says, no, I'm not getting up. Man, we just went through a table. We broke this. And I laid there.
Now, that's not something you can practice, and this was an accident. How did you not break your neck? Oh, my God. This sounds really...
I got you. It just happened.
Okay.
And you went with it. I wasn't hurt.
And you went with it. Okay.
So we're going to get into a lot of things here in a second. And to tell you about our business is to watch that, and it happened, and I sewed it. So, wow, you know, here's Jerry Jarrett and the Booker, and hell, he brought us back with that. And all the towns. Gosh, man.
What did he say? Can you do it again? That thing you did? Can you do it again? You know, that accident?
Y'all can demonstrate it on Robert if you like to.
Maybe we got a table right here.
Yeah, go to the table.
But, you know, I have a really important question. It's kind of towards Robert. You know, Lanny's been in the studio a couple of times, and Lanny's known to have a big penis.
Oh, my God.
Was your penis bigger than Lanny's?
I don't know. I've never seen his.
What's that now?
What kind of...
What did you ask him?
He asked him if he's got a larger member than Lanny.
Who has a bigger penis?
I have this question asked me all the time.
Right. Okay.
Ricky Morton, what's the difference between you and Robert? Well, that's easy. I walk up and put it in. He puts it in and walks up. Does that?
God. Holy tooth steak.
No, but
hey,
Robert.
Guys ask me, they say, how come Robert walks around the dressing room naked? I said, dude, if I had a dick like that, I'd wrestle naked.
But again, we've had Virgil in here, we've had Lanny, and now we have Robert. Who's got the bigger penis?
Why is
Does Lanny have a bigger member than Robert?
Ronnie?
He said
Lanny Poffo.
Lanny Poffo.
Does Lanny Poffo have a bigger penis than Robert?
This is... Really?
Maybe
he hasn't looked either.
I don't remember. You know why?
Oh, my God, now you're swearing it off.
No, but seriously. The heels, in our days, we kayfabed. We never dressed with the heels of the baby face.
Right.
We never rehearsed our matches.
Right. Right.
It all happened in the ring.
Right. So it's possible they might know about Jake's snake, but maybe not so much the other situation.
Whose snake?
Jake's snake.
I know Jake real good.
Yeah, not a snake, though.
So you guys mentioned you got into the industry, you were smaller guys. At what point does someone decide, hey, these guys are for real, I can make money with them, I don't care what size they are?
Well, back in the day, Eddie Graham, they had a big show in Memphis where all the promoters, all the territories came to Memphis, and they were looking for new talent. And they were coming to look at the Fabs and all these other teams. But Eddie Graham was more or less head of the NWA. He told all them other promoters, he said, I don't know what y'all looking at. He said, with that team right there, the Rock and Roll Express, they came to get over. Them guys are going to be great, and they're going to be around for a long time.
And what happened there, that's when Vince McMahon started going out all over the world in the territories. So Eddie Graham, Vern Gagne, Jimmy Crockett, Bill Watts, Barnett, and
every territory.
Kansas City, they all come to Memphis to do a big show, to do a big tape, to go against Vince with, and all this bullshit. But in Memphis on that Monday night, Robert and I have already gave our notice. We had a loser leave town on that Monday night against the Galaxy, but on that Tuesday night when they had the big show there. And we wrestled the same two guys, and God, we tore the house down with them. And what Robert's saying, they had a big meeting, and Jerry wanted to push the Fabulous Ones. Everybody wanted to push their top boys that was in the territory, and that's when Eddie Graham stood up, and he said, "I don't know what y'all talking about, guys." He said, "But I watched the matches." He said, "That one kid right there sewed for 20 minutes and never buried his partner. He gave his partner a hot tag. The whole roof come off the building." He says, "I don't know what y'all thinking, but them two boys right there are money." And we was going to Bill Watts' territory. Mm-hmm. And Bill Watts was glad about it.
I bet he was.
And that's what we did.
I bet he was.
It's hard to be in a territory when you're playing second fiddle to another tag team.
Right.
We live in a cutthroat business.
Absolutely.
Really hard. But it just worked out so good.
I got to ask you guys, Hulk Hogan always gets a lot of heat behind the scenes for being protective of his own image and not putting other people over and all this stuff. But it sounds to me like Dusty Rhodes was much worse when it came to selling to himself and protecting himself and not putting other people over. In my opinion, that takes money out of those people's pockets. So who's worse, Hulk Hogan, who gets all the hate, or Dusty Rhodes, who's beloved and seems to sound like a real... sorry, Dusty, he's not with us anymore, but I wonder.
Listen to me, bud.
Sure, fire away.
To me, Dusty Rhodes was the greatest mind ever in this business, and I'm telling you.
Okay.
Now, when you're a booker, you have things that you want to do in your head. And then you look around at your talent, and you're thinking, who can do this exactly the way he wanted it? Mm-hmm. Now, what was good about us, and Dusty told me this several times, when Dusty explained something to us, we didn't have to say, huh. Do what? Mm-hmm. Understanding the angle, and that's what makes a good work. See, a good worker in our business can work with anybody. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And is to tell that story the way he's got it in his mind, and that's what sells out. And don't get me wrong. Dusty, yeah, he pushed himself. But that son of a bitch was over, buddy.
Of course.
And it's not about that. When you're a booker or a territory, if you don't bring the territory up where it makes money, mm-hmm. well, you're going to lose your damn job.
Right.
And then you're going to lose your reputation for being a booker. Dusty was good.
Sure.
And don't get me wrong.
Sure.
Dusty had his things, but Dusty had a reason to do that. Don't get me wrong. I didn't go eat at Dusty's house supper every night. Mm-hmm, you understand me? Yes. But I knew business.
Right.
When he was in Florida, yeah, he pushed himself because he knew what he wanted, and I guarantee you the shows sold out every week.
Sure.
So if I wanted just to make this guy right here do this, I promise you, he's not going to do it the way that you're thinking, that knows how to sell that building out. It's going to be half full. Mm-hmm. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
So I was going to ask you. So you mentioned Rhodes as being a great booker. How does he compare to Bill Watts?
I never worked for Bill Watts when he's a booker. Bill Superstar Dundee was the booker when Robert and I went there.
Mm-hmm.
But you did work for Watts as a
myself
promoter.
to Bill Watts.
Yeah,
Bill Watts was a good booker, but Bill Watts pushed himself too. Mm-hmm. And he worked with big guys. Mm-hmm. So let me tell this to you now. When Robert and I went to Mid-South with Bill Dundee, the booker. Now, Bill Watts owned the territory 10 years before that. If you ever read his book, he made more money in that 1 year than he did the whole 10 years that he owned Louisiana. Does that answer your question?
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm not here to listen. I'm one of the boys. I love everybody.
Sure.
I'm not here to knock you, but I'm here to tell the truth. You was talking something about Hulk Hogan a while ago. You know, Hulk Hogan was the greatest worker in the world, and Hulk Hogan didn't do this because you're in a position. But he was, Hulk was smart. Dude, one thing that he did, and this is what the guys out there today don't understand. When you're big like Hogan and you're the top baby face in the world, when he stepped in a ring with his opponents, he made them look like they could kill him.
Yep.
And then he beat them at the end.
Right.
Then that's what got Hulk Hogan over. See, Hulk Hogan did something that I did. He sewed.
Sure.
And then nowadays in our business, watch TV. You don't. I don't think they even have a baby face or heel no more, do they? I don't think they have that
it's
no
a big gray area. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, the guys, today, if you're
It's
off.
choreographed today.
Today, if you're off, and I'm here on TV, and I might as well plug it, I have a School of Morton. It comes live on YouTube every Sunday at 5:05. Go to School of Morton on YouTube and watch it. My TV show is based off old school. I get the heat on my heels, and I have my baby faces, you know, and get a chance to watch it.
Sure.
It really blind, and I do so good at it. It's because I don't say old school and new school. I'm just saying the right damn way. And that's what we do. We done it the right damn way.
And it is the right damn way.
And it works.
The
Robert, you
greatest.
talk too much.
The old way still works.
Hey, Robert talks too much.
Yeah. Rob, take it easy over there, will you?
Yes, sir.
The greatest, in my opinion, the greatest, and Mike and I used to debate back in the day. We were raised on the magazine days before the internet. We were able to stay in touch with what was going on with the Rock and Roll Express back in those days, before the internet with the pro wrestling magazines. And I've always felt this way. The greatest tag team rivalry in the history of this business, in my opinion, was, and I didn't even get to say it because we didn't have TV for it half the time. The Rock and Roll Express versus the Midnight Express. Wow, what a rivalry. But I got to ask you, while I have you here, what was your favorite version of the Midnight Express to work with? Since there was more than, you know.
Well, yeah, well, they're all good. Dennis and Bobby were great. Bobby and Dennis. Then you got Stan and Bobby.
Did you have a preference? Was there more magic or chemistry with a certain combination of the Midnight Express?
I think Dennis was the general of the Midnight, and Bobby was Bobby was great.
But seeing what made our angle last so long, okay?
That guy with the racket, that guy with the tennis racket didn't hurt
yes,
either.
but with Jimmy Cornette, and I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this, and I don't care what people think. I mean, you have everything, but Robert and I, at that time, were the best true baby face team there was. Now, it's a lot to say, not tag team, but the best baby face tag team. The Midnight Express was the best heel team in the world because of the great workers. But when Robert and I did our angle with Dennis, and did like Robert said, Dennis was a general. He controlled everything. Matter of fact, he taught us all how to work, really. I mean, we knew how to work, but how to draw that money to put it in there.
Conjury.
Yes.
Nice.
But he made everything right because telling him his stories to get it right, and that's where Bobby Eaton run. Bobby Eaton become one of the best workers in the business. But he learned a lot from Dennis. But you see, after you have a long feud like that, and then Dennis leaves, and here you bring Stan Lane in. Now, Stan Lane, I was saying this at that time, you know, he was a good-looking man that knew how to play that part, that every guy out there that he was better than you. See what it did? It re-sparked the thing with the Rock and Roll Express and the Midnight Express. It re-sparked everything. So now here we are. We're ready for another home run. And I promise you, we will go down in here. I think we will. We'll go down in history as the best rival ever in professional wrestling because you guys wasn't there and you didn't know. When you went into the arenas and you seen this, and when the Midnight Express come out, this crowd, man, they be throwing shit. Boom, they're fighting way to the ring. I watched Jimmy Cornette. This is the truth. I watched him get his ass whooped so many times that he learned how to fight.
Right.
Because you don't like to fight. Finally, he had enough of that.
Sure.
Oh yes.
Sure.
Shit, he'd knock.
Did he get good at fighting?
Yes.
Way to go!
I didn't know he was a manager. He was out there, but
Nice.
the fans.
They had so much heat. Jim Cornette had to put his back to the ring and look at the fans.
He must have feared for his life. To be very honest, from what I could tell, it must have been like scary getting to his car after.
They
he would
hated
never
him.
stop till he got home.
That's real heat. That's true, genuine wrestling heel heat, right
yes,
there.
and I'm
We
so
were
serious
in
with
Louisiana
you.
one time. Jim Cornette told a story. He said he's driving home, going to one of these little towns, and all of a sudden, the cop pulls him over. He thought, "What the hell? I ain't done nothing wrong. I'm real careful, so I don't get pulled over." And the cop said, "Well, we got Dennis and Bobby back here that you need to go back here and pick them up." So Jim turns around, drives back to the police station. Chief of police, he walks in there, and Chief of police says, "So you're Jim Cornette. You're the guy that ethered the Rock and Roll Express." He's like, "Whoa, no. We saw how y'all screwed the Rock and Roll Express."
Did they throw him in? Did they throw him in a can?
No, they got him out.
They came close though, right?
Yeah.
It was just a script.
They had
I
so
swear.
much heat that the chief tell him, yeah.
Wow.
But you see, another thing that we did at that time, and the smartest stuff in the world. I was telling you earlier, we kayfabed. We really did. Yeah, it wasn't because, if you got caught talking to him or got caught around, you got fired.
Right.
You're fired. Right on the spot. I don't give a shit who you are.
Right. Right.
But we had enough respect for our business. Our business was sacred. You didn't have the people today's, And nowadays, you go into the dressing room and hell, half the damn crowd's in the dressing room.
Right.
And guys, this is good. When we get back to, I'm going to jump back to that Liam you asked me about a while ago. The guys even bring their girlfriends in there. In the dressing room, I asked them, I said, "Well, you get your girlfriend in the dress. This is the man's dressing room." Well, they say something under their voice. And I tell Robert, I said, "Robert, get dressed." Yeah. Brother, take his pants off.
There you go.
Shit.
There you
Look
go.
here. They get them girlfriends out of there real quick.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's great. Mine's like that, too.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
How about if I can get your thoughts on, because I do believe he's incredibly underrated, and I feel like history is almost like he's going under the radar as the years go by. How underrated was Bobby Eaton? I thought Bobby Eaton was fantastic. Do you feel he's underrated a little bit over the years? Like he doesn't get enough love? Because I feel like he doesn't. That's just my opinion, of course. But thoughts on Bobby Eaton?
From the real boys, he gets a lot of love.
I bet he does.
Bobby, and then I want you to stop and think about this. How many stories have you heard about Bobby Eaton? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard any of the boys say something bad about him?
Not yet. We've been doing this quite a while. Not a word.
Nobody has.
Yeah, not a word.
Bobby is, I love Bobby Eaton. Bobby Eaton.
It was a pleasure working with him.
Him and Jerry Lawler, I thought, Bobby being in the tag teams, and Jerry could tell some of the greatest stories in a match there ever was. And it's not the big things. It's the little things that Bobby did in a match that caught your attention, because nobody else does stuff like that. And all, Bobby was the greatest. But I don't know if it's because Cornette's got so much heat with the offices that they have to. I don't know. I love Jimmy Cornette too. I don't care what he says. There's nothing he can say to make me not love him. I don't care. He has his podcast, and he blisters people's asses.
He goes wild. Yes, he does.
But
he hates us, by the way.
He
Just throw that right in there.
Does he really?
Blocked us. He blocked us. Hi, Jim.
Really?
How you doing there, buddy?
Jim's not a fan.
What? Hi, Jim. Hi.
Well, I don't know.
You're ruining wrestling.
Who's ruining wrestling?
But
Me?
But if
Hi, Jim.
Yeah, if nothing else, but they did put them in the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. Robert and I are going into the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in October. One in Wichita Falls, Texas. It's a great honor. Thank you guys. But if nothing else, WWE, they don't got to put Cornette, but they need to bring the Midnight Express on stage.
Sure.
And they really need to have somebody there to tell them the greatest heel team that ever performed.
You're not going to get an argument from me. No
this is what we're
argument from
trying
me.
to do here, right? We're trying
What's that?
We're trying to educate the newer fans on icons like yourself that have made this business, and sometimes it just gets lost in translation.
Okay, and I'm glad you said that, fella, because I've been watching wrestling, and I've been watching where they're going, and and you see where Vince just let go 20 more people. And I'm sorry for the guys that they're, but I think they're going to have to re-educate our fans all over again, because now if you watch TV, and I'm sorry to say this, I'm not knocking the guys, but holy shit, they all dress alike. They all got the ripped bodies, which that's cool. I mean, because you are professional wrestlers and you look good, but you still got to have your other ones. You still got to have the guys with the gimmicks, and you still got to learn how to get heat to make this pay-per-view next week something to watch. And the damn first thing they need to do is don't let the people know what the finishes are. God damn, they already know everything before they go there.
Or how about make it a little more realistic?
Huh?
How about make it more realistic?
Yeah, bring back some realism.
Okay.
I want to feel like I'm watching a fight with a
then
purpose.
Thank you for saying that.
Please.
Yeah.
In my time, when I was in my prime, and I took pride in this, okay? My deal was to give Robert a hot tag. He could do the best comeback in the world. You understand me?
Yeah, you'd get annihilated.
But listen to me. If I can make the guy on the front row really believe what's happened to me is happening. Now I'm talking about, if you shoot me out of a fucking cannon, I'm not going to kick out on one. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Today's fan doesn't, but I do.
See, now I'm thinking about him. Now, just think when I'm wrestling, and Arn Anderson keeps asking me, and my nickname's Punky. Arn Anderson will be asking me, Punky, you okay? Are you hurt? Now, even the guy I'm wrestling thinks I'm hurt. So what the hell you think that guy way up there in that saying? What the hell you think that guy on TV saying? All right?
Oh, yeah.
And in our business, it's not about putting over or losing a match. It's a business.
You got to have a good guy and a bad guy.
Huh?
To draw money, you got to have a good guy and a bad guy.
Yes, but see, drawing money as a baby face, I don't want to win. You see, because if I win, what am I going to do next week?
It's the chase.
You understand?
The chase.
Well, the fans
People pay to see me win. They don't pay to see me lose when you're a champion. You have a week or every month or whatever you do, that's what puts asses back in the seats.
Yeah.
And it's hard. But see, I'm glad you said that, because it's going to come a time when they're going to need people like that. And finally, I might get a damn job with a big company in the back.
There you go.
Because I know that. And I know how to explain it to the guys. I know what they're doing. Even on the independent circuit, the guy asked me, hey, would you watch my match? I say, sure. And I go out and watch it. And he comes back and I said, did you watch the match before you? He goes, no. I said, well, you did the same damn thing. It's just a repeat of everything. And it's like Robert and I nowadays, when we go on these independent shows, I was talking to Eric about this earlier. I like to go on before intermission, because most of them are 27 matches. People sit there and see the same shit over and over and over. And nobody knows how to work the crowd. Nobody has to do this right here. And if we're on 27th, And I'm not, but they already got our autograph and they're gone.
They're already drained.
Because it's 2 o'clock in the damn morning. Nobody gives a shit no more.
Right.
But if you keep the people interested in the card, see, this is what was good in the old days. You had your opening matches that built up,
right?
And then your semi-main event was an angle.
But then again, it was an exclusive club too. Now everybody and their brother can be a wrestler. I mean, shit. At my age, I can go pay $250. I want to be a wrestler.
It feels like that.
Oh yes, I got you.
Yeah, it feels like that. Everybody's a wrestler.
Everybody comes up to you, and see, this is what kills me too. They give you the wrestling handshake. It's what they think it's a wrestling handshake. They don't have a clue what that even means. And I do.
Did you have someone try to give you the wrestling? Hey, what's
yeah,
up, bro?
Yeah, like
what was that?
You know, I'm going, what the fuck? Man, what are you doing? But they don't understand.
Yeah.
See, that's the main thing about the guys today. If you're gonna break them into the business, see, I don't teach a headlock at my wrestling school. I got somebody else to do that. I teach you how to understand our business. And then and that's the same thing I was telling my daddy. What I'm explaining to you right now, I'll be better off talking at wall because you ain't gonna have a clue what I'm talking about until later on and it hit you.
It will hit you like a brick.
And then it will. And see, that's what I try.
You're like, damn, that's what Daddy was talking about.
Yes, and that's what I try to teach my people at my wrestling school.
What's a greater battle, teaching the physical or teaching the psychological? It sounds like teaching the psychological.
You learn that by experiencing over and over and over. That's finally when it comes to you.
Interesting.
You know, the physical part these days, that's some bullshit. You know.
It's gymnastics for the most part.
Let me ask you this. Does it get you mad? Now, I'm pointing out AEW, for example. But a guy like Orange Cassidy comes out and makes a joke of the business, kicking you in a shin, has his hands in his pockets. As a professional and a Hall of Famer like yourself, aren't you angry over this?
No. I'm no. But
is it because being over is over? Or?
No. But one thing about getting old in the business, you got to go with the flow.
Understood.
Actually, Orange Cassidy's a hell of a worker.
Right, I understand that.
We're in entertainment business, and Vince done told everybody that. I'm not here to insult anybody's intelligence. I'm not here to do stuff like that. You know, everything's a hard road, but see, as Orange Cassidy being a regular wrestler, where do you go? But when Orange Cassidy stuck his hands in his pockets, he went to the top, bro.
Yeah, is that gimmick sustainable though? No, it's not.
What's that?
It's not a sustainable gimmick. You can't sustain that gimmick.
Yeah, okay. Oh, and back then it wouldn't have worked. But I was just saying.
Your buddy Cornette absolutely loves Orange Cassidy. Boy, he kills him.
If you had great workers this time,
Jim Cornette.
Because I understand, I love to work with him because I understand his gimmick.
Sure, understood.
But see, a lot of the guys he works don't understand his gimmick. That's the whole point of our business that I like to teach people. To me, we have, everybody, your opinion is like your ass. Everybody's got one. And it's good. I like it.
Honestly, it's a very original thing he came up with, obviously.
Okay,
who on earth is doing that? You got to give him that.
At least he's different.
Absolutely.
And at least he don't look like everybody else.
That's very true.
And that's what I'm trying to make a point of.
Right. But Mike thinks he was changing his towels at the swim club. That's what he thinks of when he looks at Orange Cassidy. He doesn't see any image when he looks at Orange Cassidy. He just looks like another guy,
Somebody you could take, huh? Somebody you could take.
Exactly.
That's what he's getting at.
You don't want the wrestler that you're looking at going, I could kick that guy's ass.
I don't think that ever, by the way.
I mean, seriously.
He thinks that.
Yeah.
But I got to say this for him. It's a lot of balls diving out of that rope with no hands.
Yeah.
It's a lot of balls coming off that top rope.
Go to Circus Olay then.
Circus Olay!
Go to the circus.
But look at the wrestler today. Fuck, they need to put trapeze shit up above the ring because that's all it looks like.
Pretty much. Did you guys...
I'm going to beat you up, but hold on. Stand there because I'm going to go on the top rope. I'm going to do a triple Lindy and hit you with my toe.
I promise you I'll move.
I would hope so. I would hope so.
Did you guys catch any crap when you were... you accepted the WWE Hall of Fame induction? Look, we go at it all the time with one type of fan, the Vince McMahon hater, who's obviously an old school territory loyalist. Did you guys catch any crap for accepting Vince's induction, considering you didn't do work with Vince? Anybody say to you, what are you doing going to Vince's Hall of Fame? Any kind of crap like that? Because
I thought it was the greatest compliment ever.
Absolutely.
Everybody gave us support going.
Yeah. Were you surprised? Were you surprised when you got the call?
And see, now you stop to think about this. We didn't work for WWE.
Right.
But they put us in their Hall of Fame. What are they trying to sell the people out there?
It's one of the greats.
That at our time, Robert and I were the greatest babyface tag team ever.
Absolutely.
And it's worked. No, let me tell you guys something. Now at the Performance Center, where they have their trainings, what do you think they do there? And because it's a lot more than just going there, getting in a ring. They have classes where they show tapes. What tapes do you think they say? Vince McMahon says, "All right, watch Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson here." Okay. Do you understand me?
They steady watching our tapes, showing their kids.
Yeah, watch this tape. Watch Ricky Morton say, watch Robert Gibson do it.
There you go.
Comeback.
And again, another compliment to you guys. We talk about this all the time. Today's wrestlers small, okay? You guys
wrestlers are what?
Are small.
A lot of them.
Smaller.
Yes, I got you.
You guys were on the smaller end, but you always played big.
Yes.
I always believed that you could take on an Nikita Koloff and beat him.
Absolutely.
Because we use our speed.
But see, now, thank you for saying that. Because that was back then, that was called working, that was psychology.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now, and I'm going to go off here on a whole, I'm a squirrel jumping over here to this limb again. Now, Jerry Lawler was great at telling stories. But to me, the greatest of all times, the greatest world heavyweight champion is Ric Flair. Without a doubt. Now, because I'm going to tell you, Rick, a lot of people think sometimes, I heard that some of the guys say, well, he does some of the same things in the ring. Well, hell, when you go an hour every night, it's only some. But I had the opportunity to do an angle with Ric Flair.
Absolutely.
Now, have you ever been and Robert and I were big baby faces in Charlotte, but to go out to the ring as a big baby face, where half the people are cheering me and half the people are cheering Ric Flair. Okay, that's in Charlotte. Now I'm going to get to that in a second, but now I go to Philadelphia. Philadelphia is the biggest hill town I ever been in my life. I don't think them people even like ice cream. They hate.
They don't like Santa Claus. We know that.
I know.
Yeah.
They hate everything.
Oh yeah, they're rough.
I'm wrestling Rick in Philadelphia. We're going 60-minute match. I don't know this until I get in the ring because that's how sacred our business was. We did it every night. I expected it. I got in the ring and the referee goes, "You go in 60 minutes." Broadway. So, but with Rick, I go to the ring first. And dude, I'm called everything in the world. They're throwing a shit at me. Beep, 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 beep. I get in the ring. Boom, and here comes Ric Flair. Holy shit, this building is erupted. It's going crazy. All right? And here comes Rick in the ring. Now, I want you to stop and think about this. In 10 minutes in the match, he done turned half the people. Okay? 20 minutes in the match, he done turned them all. They are throwing shit. And all of a sudden, they push the guardrails all the way to the ring. Robert and Arn Anderson are watching. They come down to the ring, man. And I'm taking bumps, knocking people off the ropes that's trying to come in the ring and get Rick. Now, we're supposed to go an hour. And he told me, he says, "Ricky, man," he says, "I'm going to have to do something." He said, people going to kill me. I got to get out of here. Okay. He did a spot. I think he threw me over the top rope over where you were, for me and Robert could get to the attention of the crowd.
Right.
For him and Arn, not to go back to with the way they come. They went through a side door.
Slip out the other way.
Out.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you see what we're talking about here? It's not his ego. He's a heavyweight champion of the world. He's wrestling me. He changed the whole people in the building. It wasn't about him. It was about our match, telling that story of where were we going with this story. You see, that's how come he was the greatest heavyweight champion of all times. And when you paid to see Ric Flair, he gave you your money's worth. He didn't give a shit. I mean, if you didn't go, well, it's just like this in the house shows. I mean, if you didn't go an hour, you went 58 minutes. He made sure you got your money's worth. And I don't care if he was sick, you know, and Rick partied. You know, I mean, we'd stay out at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then you look out by the swimming pool at the hotel at 7 o'clock in the morning. He's out there doing free squats as well. But see, that's what we were talking about, what our business has got away from. And it ain't what it's got away from. It's because you don't have trainers in our business that can teach these guys this.
I teach my school. I said, look here, guys, y'all in there training. If y'all don't sell in the ring, how do you expect the people to sell? If you're not selling, they ain't going to sell.
And can I tell you this?
Real simple.
And I'm not patting ourselves on the back. It's a lot of difference when you work in our business. You get to this level. Did you get to this level? Did you get to this level? But let's stop here. There ain't a few of us that been to this level. We didn't have contracts. You hear me? The whole territory depended on me and him and the Midnight Express.
To make everybody money.
To make everybody money.
And if you can't believe that, if you know George South, asked him.
So speaking
in Charlotte, we bought him a house.
Speaking of that, though, we lost Crockett Jr. late last year.
Yeah.
Ronnie Garvin was in here before you, and I'm going to pose the same question to both of you. Crockett gets blamed for screwing up the territory and then just falling apart and going bankrupt. Garvin felt that Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair were doing so much business for themselves, they've cost all you guys that territory. What is your feeling on that?
Well, the worst thing they ever did, and I'm serious, the worst thing they did, because we're getting back to it, we didn't always get along with Dusty, and but it wasn't with Rick and them. They tried to pull the ego tricks on us, and we fought back. And the worst thing they ever did was fire me and Robert. When they fired me and Robert 3 months later, they went bankrupt.
Well, let's back up a little bit. Before they fired us, Jim Crockett came down to Louisiana. He said, the only reason I'm down here is to watch y'all guys wrestle.
That's before they brought us in the
Ric
territory.
Flair said y'all was the greatest thing ever. And y'all popped Louisiana, drew more money here. Jim Crockett said, we'd like to have you in our territory, but our territory is not doing too good. He said, we'll bring you up here, we'll give y'all a chance for the world titles.
He told us he's fixing to go nationwide.
Yeah, anyway, we go to Louisiana, they show our tapes. We get to the Carolinas, they play our tape 2 weeks before we get there, and we never saw a bad house. Everywhere we went was sold out.
Everywhere we went.
So we go to Raleigh, our first night there, we do $48,000. And the biggest record before that was Blackjack Mulligan and Flair. They drew 27,000. Our first night was 48.
Wow.
Dusty calls us in the office the next day. He said, guys, that's like Babe Ruth. That record will never be broken. We go back 2 weeks later, we do 56. And that's like crazy.
Okay, then we go back again.
Dusty
We do 70-something thousand.
70-something.
Yeah.
And then we start off
So we went
with the
from broke
different
record
things.
27,000 to 72,000.
But to Garvin's point, he said, you guys are doing these house shows. Are you making this money? Meanwhile, all the money on the planes for Flair and Rhodes were being spent out the side door.
Well, look, before that, though, they didn't even have no airplanes. They didn't get airplanes until we got there. Bill Watts never had an airplane until we went there and broke his story. He bought planes.
Yes.
We left Louisiana. What happened? Territory sold out. They let us go. They let us go in Crockett. 3 months later, he's out of business.
You see, it's a part about when you got something going, and it was egos. It was egos there.
Yeah, Dusty told us one time, he called us in, guys, there's 2 things you don't do in this territory. What's that, Dusty? Y'all do not sell out the Charlotte Coliseum, and I'm not on the card.
Yes.
Wow.
But it was good, though. See, I can tell you this. They had an A team and a B team. Okay.
Oh, Dick Murdoch.
Okay. Now, the B team was Robert and I, because we were over so much that our underneath card was nobody. Okay, the A team was the big boys, Magnum TA, Dusty, Flair, all them guys. They'll be in the big towns, Baltimore, and we're in the smaller towns. And now listen to me, we're in the smaller towns, and the towns that we went to that they normally have in the regular buildings, we had to go out to the football fields because it was so many people. I remember we went by Monday, then we didn't go by attendance. I remember that on a Sunday afternoon they had everybody in Baltimore, and Robert and I were in Charlotte, and I think they did a $21,000 house, and we did a $108,000 house in Charlotte. You see,
with no help,
and that was it. Dick Murdoch did something, and they told Dickie, so they put Dickie on the B team.
On the B team.
So Dusty asks Dickie, he goes, you ready to come back to the A team? He said, well, hell no. I'm going to stay on the B team. You make triple the money on the B team.
So why did you guys get fired then? What happened?
Because there's 2 things you don't do.
Well,
and one of
it was
them
an
is
ego
outdoor the
thing
A-team.
going on. It was an ego thing going on.
Oh, my God.
And then we were fixing to shoot a big angle. Okay. And Dusty got mad at me about something, but we're fixing to shoot a big angle where they're going to cut my hair.
What?
Yes.
Leave
Well,
the
it's a
hair
big angle,
alone.
buddy.
Oh, my God.
Well, just going to cut my hair back.
Just a little. Just a little.
But he didn't like something. And then he wanted some team just to beat us. He told to finish, just beat them and get them that way. But I didn't. It's really my own fault too. Okay, I let them beat us. But after they beat us, I jumped up and did the strut across the ring at about 3 seconds.
Yeah, the match didn't go 3 minutes.
So they fired us over it. But you know, Jimmy Crockett and David, they all told me 100 times. So the worst thing there was fire, y'all. Worst thing. They even had ads in the papers in that territory. Lost and found. Where's the Rock and Roll Express?
Where's the Rock and Roll Express at?
Oh yeah,
Wow.
I'm bullshitting you.
Wow.
And this went on.
You guys were on milk cartons? I mean,
It was like
you guys were on milk cartons missing.
Yes.
The Rock is.
Yeah, Rock and Roll Express.
Crockett was explaining, we're still talking to him, and then they come back and said, no, Rock and Roll Express had left.
What's that?
Crockett was putting off excuses where we were at.
Yeah.
They finally came out and said, no, they have left the building.
Yeah. So, and I'm serious. We were hot there, buddy. I mean, really hot.
We were so hot, we had to have cops park in front of a house, keep the fans away.
Really?
Yeah.
My God.
Oh, yeah, I bought a house in Charlotte.
Okay.
But I bought it outside of town where nobody knew. Look
I have
here.
on private security.
And I'm in my room and I hear something, and I tell them, I said, what is that? I open my front door up to my house. I got 600 people out there in my front yard.
What?
Look here.
Yeah.
All my flower pots are gone.
Oh,
and
God.
people getting souvenirs. I had to get the police
Wow.
to come down, but then they
They parked
had
right
a
in front of
fence
my,
put around it, and then I had the cops come by my house 4 or 5 times a day.
Unreal.
Serious.
No one was hotter than you guys. I told you I was in Louisiana.
hot.
I came
Oh,
down.
God.
I think when I was there, I think Turner might have bought the organization, so the house shows were not what they were. Like, I walked in, it was kind of light, but I mean, you guys we were WWE guys, and we used to talk when we were much. We were like, when are they bringing these guys up? What's going on here? When are these guys coming to the territory?
I never understood why we never saw you.
But you look at WWE and things. See, they come to your town once a year, and they don't sell out.
Now
we rented the team every week and sold it out every week. Do you see what I'm saying? I know times have changed and there's so much more on TV and everything, but we had their attention.
Back in the day, Memphis would do 10,000 people every Monday night.
But again, you guys were superheroes. You were superheroes. You weren't Orange Cassidy. I don't mean to make this an Orange Cassidy. Superheroes. All right, we got about 5 minutes left. All right, what do you got, buddy?
You know, they say that imitation is the greatest form of flattery, so I always found it very interesting. You guys worked, you know, in the AWA, of course, the Rockers. How did it feel to see the Rockers are you guys? I mean, when they started off, it was like, here's the, you know, how did you feel about that?
In Louisiana, Shawn Michaels used to ride in the back seat with us. He was just Shawn Michaels. I remember the first time we did a scaffold match in Louisiana. We were in St. Charles. Was it?
Lake Charles.
Lake Charles. Anyway, they're setting up the big old scaffolds, and Shawn went out there and he climbed up that shit halfway up, and he come back down and he goes, hell no.
Too much. Okay,
said,
but,
hell no.
but listen to me.
That's so
Sean's like,
when they became the Midnight Rockers,
right?
It was a compliment to me.
Sure.
Sean is a friend of mine.
Sure.
He's a friend of Robert's. You hear me? Marty was a friend of ours.
Sure.
I really, and don't
I
get
remember
me
coming
wrong,
in there.
I don't know what happened to Marty. Marty
I know he punched me in the face when he was in
He
studio.
did punch him in the face.
Did he
That's
really?
a whole other story.
That's a whole nother story.
but
But
on the floor was a lot of fun.
I just don't know. I know I had my bad times in my life, you know, where I went through a, you know, I'm not lying to you.
Sure.
I did cocaine. I'm not lying to you, but I didn't know what happened. I know that it was a great compliment to us. I love Marty.
I know the boys used to say, hey, man, y'all better not be wearing them bandanas. Me and Rick walked in and, hey, I don't give a damn. Y'all can wear them. We don't bother us. Go ahead.
Sean, here, I said, man, that's cool, bro.
Yeah, that's a compliment.
But you know what? And we worked at a little deal with them out of Memphis. And we did good business.
Yeah.
We had great matches with, you know, Martin, I got to say this now. Shawn Michaels a hell of a worker. He's a hell of a worker. Of
course.
Not bullshit.
Did you see the greatness
Marty wasn't
coming?
bad,
Because Shawn Michaels.
Shawn was great.
Did you see the greatness back then that was coming for him? Were you surprised when he became such a superstar? This guy's one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, Shawn, I mean, outside you back watch.
How about Marty back in those days? Marty was.
I love Marty. Marty's good.
Marty was fabulous back in those days.
Marty was good.
Yeah, Marty was great.
Yeah.
But I just don't know.
He's a little out there, though.
Yeah,
I gotta get
don't know
in.
what
I gotta
happened
get
to
in
him.
my typical Freebird question. What was it like working with the Freebirds and Michael Hayes, Buddy Jack Roberts, and Terry Gordy?
Me and Michael Hayes used to hitchhike to the TV station together, set the ring up.
They grew up together.
Really?
You grew up with Michael Hayes?
I gave Michael Hayes his first
Did you guys
job.
have measuring contests and stuff like that? You know, because you're legendary. I'm assuming Michael Hayes has been around the block, you know.
I gave Michael Hayes his first job setting the ring up.
Yes.
Wow.
Really?
I was the head of the ring crew.
Michael,
Really?
Yeah.
Michael, for his
He
time,
hitchhiked
he was
to the
one of the
TV
greatest talkers ever.
I really believe
Without a
that.
doubt.
I felt like he could have been world champion.
Now, he
we
wasn't
debate
a-
about this all the time. I felt
He
was
wasn't the
world
greatest worker,
champion. Right. Okay.
but I'm not getting me wrong. He drew money,
Okay.
but
He could talk.
boy, he could talk.
How about Terry Gordy?
You know, and Michael don't have no. When you're in the ring with him, you be his partner. He don't have any. Know that you're his partner. You be standing beside him. Look, pow. You know, boom, hits you there.
You know, Terry Gordy was so big, he started wrestling when he was like 16.
Yeah.
Yes, and Terry was phenomenal worker.
He was for a
God.
big guy.
Oh yes,
Loose.
he was. No, you know, he started working before he was 16.
Yeah.
Hell, he was a heavyweight champion at 16 years old. I think he started working at 14. He was big like that then.
Big dude.
This is a difficult question, but how does it feel watching all these guys that you've worked with pass away all these wrestlers pass away. I mean, does it rip your heart apart? I mean, we lost Road Warrior Animal. You know, we're just losing all these guys.
Listen, dude, these guys, it's a different whole thing in our days. We were the boys. We didn't have contracts, and we depended on each other to make a living. You know, nowadays the guys get hurt for events. Well, they're on contracts. How they go home for 6 months. We still had to work.
Yeah. If we didn't show it, we didn't get paid.
And then when you work with them, and if you was hurt, I promise you, nobody knew you were hurt because we knew how to work around it and we had to take care of it. You know, Mike and Joe, Animal and Hawk, loved these guys. I mean, absolutely, because you don't know what all we done and we've been through together. And not only them, just so many of the boys that died, and ones that nobody even think about, like Killer Tim Brooks. I don't know if you know, he passed away, but when I was a kid in Texas, he took care of me. At that time, he taught me how to work and make me better. You see what I'm saying?
Back then, everybody helped each other.
Yes, and nowadays, they don't give a shit. But these were my friends. And I hadn't really told many people about this. My birthday was September the 21st. And Joe calls me, and he wishes me a happy birthday. I'm going to see him Saturday in Jackson. And we're talking, and the next day was his anniversary, and he was telling me what him and his wife were going to go do. You know, and I'm joking with him. But I'll never forget this, man. He says, Ricky, I called him, you know, when we were gang, he said, Ricky Morton, I love you. And I said, Joe, I love you too. And he said, I'll see you Saturday. And he died the next day. And his wife. You see, that's things that's really
hard.
Yeah, it's hard. It's emotional. And I'm the kind of guy, I don't go to funerals. I remember you as you were. You know, it's even like I told my wife, I says, if I die, and I don't have no funeral. I do not have no funeral. I don't want nobody to come see me dead and burn me up. Spread my ashes wherever you want to. I don't like that. So it's not disrespecting anybody over that, but I want to remember you as you were. It's a lot of hard times in this business, guys, that the crowds don't understand. It's a lot of things that you don't understand, how we depended on each other, how we loved each other. Back then, you didn't fight. You understand me? You cut, you know, if you had a problem, you just cut an interview on them, and it was over with. Nowadays, they want to beat you up and kill you, and, well, hell, when they wrestle you in the ring, they beat you up and kill you. You know, and guys get beat up in the ring, they don't know they got beat up, because they're used to working so stiff and having no clue.
I tell these boys today, hit me hard as you can. Why? Say, because your working punch is killing me.
Yeah. You know, they have no clue of what they're doing in the business. And if you want to learn, won't you come and see me and Robert?
Yeah.
I promise you, anybody out there, you come to my school, and in one day I can teach you more than you learned in the last 5 years. And I'm not bullshitting you.
That I believe.
I believe it.
I've had many students tell me that.
Huh?
I've had many students tell me that. Hell, I've learned more here today than I learned 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah, I do seminars a lot all over the country. And the guys tell me, said, damn, I didn't realize that. I said, yeah.
Is that damn easy?
You know, I didn't know it was like that. I said, dude, you don't, and I'm serious. Well, I was telling this earlier. You know, you don't got, you know, you watch the guys. You go to a wrestling match and you'll see 7 million chops. And the reason they do that, because the people at the first 2 matches, they start doing the Ric Flair thing. Woo, woo. But after the 4th or 5th match, when they done seen it 7 million times, they don't give a shit no more.
Yeah, those woos are not so enthusiastic after.
You know what? I don't chop.
You got a lot of fans congratulating you guys on making it to the Hall of Fame upcoming.
Thank you.
We want to thank you guys for coming in. We're out of time. You guys are fantastic. God bless. Icons in the business. Thank you for what you've done for the fans.
Thank you, Monty.
You said one thing there that I really appreciate a lot. You said, God bless. No matter, I'm Ricky Morton, but I'm a firm believer that Jesus Christ died on the cross for my sins. I'm a firm believer in that, and everybody that's out there, through my whole career, I always took Jesus Christ with me. Yes, I'm crazier than a horse with no neck, but I never forgot my faith. Robert didn't either, and that's the reason I think that Robert and I were so successful as we were. Faith in that and faith in all our fans.
Amen.
Thank you very much. We never forgot where we come from.
Care was on the road for years.
Amen.
All right, if you didn't know it, you're watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty Nefaro, only seen here out of Indie Music TV. Catch us on the Monty Nefaro YouTube page, Facebook Live page. Hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor. Catch us on New York Cable on Channel 115 and Channel 20. Again, want to thank the Rock and Roll
Thank you.
Express.
We love you all.
Guys, keep rocking.
Thank you. Hey, and if the music's too loud, you're too damn old.
You've been watching Monty and the Pharaoh, and until Thursday, later.